Those who have been abused as a child. What's your story? I was 8 when the bruises started, but the pain was always there, long before the marks. The worst part? It wasn't the bruises themselves. It was the way they made me feel, like I didn't matter, like I was invisible. My parents, the people who were supposed to love me, crushed me instead. Not with fists alone, but with words that cut deeper than any blow ever could. You're useless. Why can't you be better? You're a failure. Every word chipped away at me, piece by piece, until I didn't recognize the girl in the mirror anymore. Home wasn't a home, it was a battlefield. And no matter how hard I tried to be perfect, I could never win. My mother's sharp words and my father's cold silence became my world. I learned to tiptoe, to shrink myself, to hide from their rage. But no matter how small I made myself, it wasn't enough. Nothing ever was. School was supposed to be my escape, but even there, the weight of their anger followed me. I sat in the back of the classroom, praying no one would notice the bruises on my arms or the tears I fought so hard to hold back. No one ever asked. No one ever saw. I became an expert at pretending everything was fine. But one night, after another vicious fight, another round of yelling that left me shattered and crying in my room, I hit my breaking point. I stared at the ceiling, my body shaking, my mind racing. This couldn't be my life. This couldn't be all there was for me. I couldn't keep living like this. I wouldn't. That's when I remembered the number. I had seen it on a poster at school, a helpline for kids in trouble. I never thought I'd actually use it. But that night, something inside me snapped. I grabbed an old phone, hands trembling as I dialed the number. When a voice on the other end answered, my heart pounded in my chest. I could barely speak, but I forced the words out. "I need help," I whispered. "Please." The next day, social workers came to my school. My stomach twisted in knots, terrified of what would happen if my parents found out I had spoken. But I talked anyway. I told them everything, the bruises, the words, the silence that suffocated me every day. I wasn't sure if they'd believe me. After all, my parents were masters at hiding the truth. They wore their smiles like masks, convincing the world they were perfect. But for once, I wasn't invisible. They believed me. Things changed after that. Faster than I could have imagined. My parents were arrested, and I was taken away from that house, away from the walls that had seen too much. I watched from a distance as the police led them away in handcuffs. I should have felt guilty. I should have felt sad. But all I felt was relief. I was placed with a foster family, a family that didn't yell, didn't belittle, didn't make me feel like I was nothing. At first, I didn't trust it. How could I? After years of being told I was worthless, it was hard to believe anyone could truly care. But they did. Slowly, the wounds inside me began to heal. My foster mom's kindness felt like sunlight breaking through the storm clouds that had hung over me for so long. For the first time, I wasn't walking on eggshells. I could breathe. The journey wasn't easy. The scars from my past ran deep, and there were nights when the memories came rushing back like waves trying to drown me. But I fought my way through. Therapy helped. Drawing helped. Writing helped. I started to find pieces of myself I thought I'd lost forever. Years later, I stood on a stage, speaking to a room full of people who had no idea how much strength it took to stand there. I told my story, of the bruises, the fear, the words that had tried to break me. But most of all, I told them how I survived. How I rebuilt myself, stronger than before. I wasn't that broken little girl anymore. I had found my voice. And with it, my freedom. The chains that once held me down were gone, and I had shattered them. For good.